But when it comes to the accent, because you asked me specifically here, how to speak Italian with a Sicilian accent. Okay, and a breakdown of how Sicilians speak Italian. But I think I gave you the breakdown of how Sicilians speak Italian. But let's talk about the accent. Once again, there isn't a single Sicilian, therefore, there isn't a single, unique, all-encompassing Sicilian accent when Sicilians speak Italian. In other words, if I hear someone speak Italian with a thick Sicilian accent, within the first 5 to 10 seconds, I'll be able to tell you, I think they're from Palermo, I think they're from Trapani, definitely from Siracusa, or 100% they're from the south, so like Agrigento. That is because even though they are all absolutely Sicilian, so someone who's not from Sicily, from another region, Napoli, Milano, Roma, Torino, Treviso, whatever you want, if they hear any of these people speak, they'll be immediately able to say, oh, Sicilians, immediately. With that being said, if a Sicilian hears them speak, then he'll be able to go further, deeper, and tell you, yeah, true, but that guy's from Siracusa and that guy's from Agrigento and he's from Palermo. 100% he's from Palermo. So, if you want to speak with a Sicilian accent when you speak Italian, you have to choose the accent. You have to choose a city. I'll give you a few examples. People in Palermo, like me, our Sicilian has a lot of vowels as opposed to Eastern Sicilian. So we add the vowel E and we have very rich vowel clusters. That's something that Eastern Sicilians make fun of. Like, for instance, they would say a botta to mean the door. We would say a vuaita. So I'm adding a lot of vowels in there. Another one would be like we say siempre to mean always. Italian sempre. Kind of similar to Spanish, but with a different stress. Siempre. Sciaito to mean the Italian certo. So we are adding vowels, but this only happens in Palermo, maybe surrounding areas. Another characteristic of Palermo is that we pronounce the C sound. When in Italian it's pronounced as a ch, we turn it into a sh. So luce becomes luce. Adduma luce in Sicilian, turn on the light. But even if I speak Italian, accendi la luce, I still carry over the sh sound, even though now I'm using the Italian verb accendere instead of the Sicilian word addumare. This doesn't happen in other areas. And in fact, in the south, one thing that they tend to do is instead to approximate the ch sound and turn it into a g. So they will say la luce, gangello, instead of cancello. We don't transform every ch sound into a sh. There are exceptions, like the word cancello for gate. I wouldn't say cancello. That's because there is an N before, but I won't go into the details. When it's between vowels, we will simplify it into a sh. Another characteristic of Sicilian is that we tend to double our consonants a lot and pronounce them longer and stronger. But which consonants will be doubled depends on the area. So for instance, I'm going to double these naturally. In Italian, la doccia, but I would say la doccia. So I pronounce it like there are two Ds, la doccia. But this is not something that they do everywhere in Sicily. In Catania, however, they will do this. They have the same linguistic phenomenon, but with the G. So Italian, la gonna, the skirt, they will say la gonna. It's like there are two Gs. I wouldn't do that though. I would say la gonna. I wouldn't double it. So what consonants you double will distinctively identify which section of Sicily you are using an accent of. Intonation is another major difference. The intonation that they have in the east of Sicily tends to be characterized by a rising terminal. What a rising terminal is a technical term to indicate the idea of ending sentences with a rising tone, a bit like you do for a question, but you also do it in statements. And when it comes to questions, it will be risen a lot. And this is a characteristic of the Eastern Sicilian. I'll try and approximate it now, but if someone is from Catania, they'll probably tell you I didn't do it right, because of course I'm not from there. But just to give an idea to our friends who are not native, something like aggiurista botta, un mezzanotte politico. So the intonation raises. Now again, I didn't do it perfectly because I'm not from there, but it's just to give you an idea, the intonation goes up. In the Palermo accent instead, we sound like we are lazy and we don't care. So the intonation goes down dramatically at the end of sentences. So we will say, Amonica, ma fare stamattina? Ma fare stamattina? Ci sa parlare cucchito. It's like, that's how we speak. Another difference is with the older generation. They tend to speak from the throat. So old Sicilians, Ramone, piglia sta cosa, choressa ta madre, con navi a fare sta cosa, ma i davi giustisso. A lot of Sicilians who are older tend to do this, particularly if they are the type that use Sicilian rather than Italian. And this is an interesting thing because then when you hear this, you're hearing a Sicilian accent, not an Italian accent. So even in the gangster movies, for instance, to say that those Italian-American gangsters that we often see in the movies and they speak like this, someone from Milan doesn't do this. Someone from Rome, they don't speak like this. It is distinctively a Sicilian thing to speak like this. Sicilia. Island only. Another thing that makes Sicilian distinctive to other regions of Italy is that we tend to put the verb at the end. And we do it in Sicilian, of course, but we also do it in Italian. Now, when we do it in Italian, we tend to do it in emphatic clauses. So where we are trying to bring in emphasis to whatever statement we are making. I'll give you an example. Italian, generally speaking, is a subject, verb, object language, a bit like English. So you will say, stamattina devo mangiare una mela. So this morning, I have to eat an apple. I can do that in Sicilian. I can say, stamattina m'ha mangiare una mela. Mela is not the most interesting. I could have said cirase, mirinciane, to use words that are different, but in this case it's the same. Stamattina becomes stamattina, single T. Devo mangiare becomes a mangiare, mangiare. La mela, a mela. But if I want to be emphatic about it, and I want to be like, no, this morning I have to eat an apple, I will say, stamattina a mela m'ha mangiare. Stamattina